Alright, folks. David back again. Time for the Sunday evening ritual. I don't know why the sign is off, but I'm at the Grand Hattiesburg. It's the 9th of March. And I caught the 8:45 showing of Last Breath. And I'm glad I gave up my tickets a second look to make sure which theater I was going into, because the either hard of hearing and or crack smoking guy who sold me the tickets in the ticket booth, and I'm so glad this place actually does have a box office. That's something that aggravates me about AMC in Mobile, Alabama. First, they painted the building the color of PP, and then they did away with the box office. Now it's just a place where you go inside and there's some benches and stuff, some chairs, some nice chairs you can sit on. But where's the box office? This is the movie theater. A movie theater has got to have a box office. Anyways, he gave me tickets, the guy did, for The Lost Lands or whatever that thing is with Dave Bautista. I'm like, no. I went back because I was about to go in the wrong theater. They're numbered, and they give you a seat number these days. You got to pick it. Anyways, I enjoyed this flick. I'll get into the exact names and everything when I get home, but this is just my usual preliminary that I do. I didn't know what I was getting into here. I really didn't know what I was getting into with this movie. I'll just say that first off that I enjoyed it, and I only knew from the trailer that, okay, this is some kind of deep sea underwater rescue mission. It's going to maybe be some harrowing heroics and some suspense. I'm like, hey, I'm down for that. I'd like to see a good story like that. I didn't know until today, though, that this is actually based on a true story, and it makes it all the more excellent. It is a well-done film. I'm going to pick at my mom a little bit whenever I get back home, because for whatever reason, from years back, different bad impressions she's got from Woody Harrelson. She can't stand to see Woody Harrelson. It's like she's got a built-in prejudice about, well, it's got Woody Harrelson in it, it's going to be a bad movie, it's going to be trash or somehow. I was like, well, no, Mom, it's a water rescue mission movie. And I thought I'd give it a chance tonight, and I did, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was an excellent little movie, and get all into it whenever I get home. But I just wanted to say that first, just for the funnies. I'm gonna have to tell her what a neat little movie this was, and how Woody Harrelson was very good in it. His character was very good. And what in the world else can I say? Just for starters, I gotta drive 60 miles to get back home from Hattiesburg. What else can I say about the movie? Oh yeah, I was pleased to realize it just adds an extra special touch to it. That this is a story based on a true story, actual events of some years back, and it's just excellent. It's absolutely excellent. And when they say "Last Breath" in the title and the theme and the subtitles and the whole everything about this movie, I didn't think it was going to be that kind of thing. From the trailer, I thought, yeah, Last Breath, but sometimes they name movies such and such for suspense purposes to draw you in. No, this is about this man who went not quite half an hour, like 29 minutes, without oxygen to his brain, and somehow didn't sustain any permanent physical or mental damage, which is just absolutely amazing. And in the ending credits, as the nice music is starting up and they're saying a little something about the man, and some real life footage of the wedding that happened shortly after these events, I imagine, it said he actually went back out again. I thought, what is this man's going to be like afterwards? And it's so good that they actually get into that with you a little bit. But yeah, from the trailer, I just thought, okay, this is an underwater mission at sea. It's going to be some harrowing rescue that has to happen in order to not leave a man behind after a bad incident occurs. And so, hey, I'm down for that. I need some entertainment. It's a Sunday night. I'm going to go do that which I've been doing for like a month now, and just run on down here to Santikos and catch a flick. And I'm really starting to think I picked the best movies possible there is. I'm on a roll here. I enjoyed The Monkey last week, and what was it the week before that? Did I go the week before? I can't even remember. I don't know if I did or not, but I did this week, and I really enjoyed this movie because it actually had some surprises in store for me. I thought that this was going to be like perhaps other movies I've seen before, and one of the things that drew me in is like some this is some deep sea footage. This is set in a very, the storm is raging kind of a setting. Literally, the ship up in the North Sea, they had to work in a storm is what precipitated the disaster that befell them that day. But that's what drew me into wanting to see the movie. Like, I gotta see a movie like that in the movie theater. I just have to. I might not ever watch it on my laptop at home or who knows what. I really want to see something that has that little bit of epicness to it in the movie theater, and so that's something that drew me in. But another thing that surprised me was this. I thought it was going to be like, okay, this is something that's going to transpire over the course of several hours or a couple of days. They're going to regroup and then figure out how to go back and get the guy. No, everything that happens in the movie all happens within the span of about 45 minutes from when they go down to do their job and fixing up or renovating something on a pipeline before it deteriorates and gets worse, to the time where they finally get Chris and have him fully apprehended or collected, I should say, unconscious and all, and are bringing him back into the Belle, as they call it, and then into the ship. But that's something I wasn't really like, oh man, this is all happening like right now. And it really dawned on me by virtue of the nature of their job and the environment in which they work. But I'll get into that as soon as I get home and really get into the details of this. So stay tuned. All right. Let's get this show on the road. I am back home early morning again, even though the showing at the Grand was a little bit earlier than what I had been able to catch when I would go see a movie past couple of weeks. 8:45. Maybe I can try for a 7:30 next time, so I don't end up doing the rest of my review after midnight. But yeah, I think you can actually see the printout this time. Ain't that something? Uh, I am a little bit impressed that I can actually see the ink on my movie ticket stub. It's not quite a Walmart receipt this time, but it's still not good enough. And I want to say we're getting there. I don't even know if we're getting there yet. I want nice ticket stubs, fancy, like in the old days, and that I actually did have a few of. That unique look. Just, I can't describe it, but one day when I actually break out my old ticket stubs that I've kept for 20 years, we'll get into it one day. But yeah, let's get into Last Breath. I'm going to go ahead and share a screen, uh, minimize it a little bit, and quickly go over some of the cast. Woody Harrelson, this might be the best thing I've ever seen him in, as Duncan Alec. Finn Cole plays Chris Lemons, and let me look him up real quick and see if there's anything I've ever. It seems like I've seen him in something, and I don't know what. The Fast Saga. Ah, young Jacob. Was that who he was? That's who he was. Okay, you know what? I'll take it. That's where I've seen him. I'm like, this guy's kind of familiar. So yeah, that must be where I've seen him from, and so I'm satisfied with that. Okay, that was Finn Cole, young version in the Fast and the Furious movie, second to last one I saw, I think. Who else? Cliff Curtis as Andre Jensen, captain of the ship. Always nice to see him. Simu Liu as Dave Yuasa. I think this is the first thing I've seen him in. I unfortunately didn't see the Shang-Chi movie because unfortunately it was released after I swore off Marvel. I said after Endgame, I'm done with you people. I'm not watching any more of these movies. And I haven't. Who else? Who else? DPO, Joseph Atlan. This guy, yeah, this is him. Let me make sure this is him. He plays a character. Yeah, that's him. Except in the movie, he has a beard, and I tell you what, this guy right here plays a part in this movie that reminded me so much of Steve Buscemi. No, not Steve Buscemi. Gary Sinise. Sorry, I got the name horribly wrong just then. Gary Sinise's character in Apollo 13 when Ken Mattingly was unfortunately nixed from going to the moon. They kicked him off the mission, but then because he knows the mission inside and out, he knows the Saturn V rocket and the lander and all this stuff inside and out. He was horrible in that movie that he was kicked off the mission Apollo 13. If he hadn't been on the ground to help them sort some things out as far as their electrical power issues and whatnot, they might not have made it as the story goes in that movie. Well, this character in Last Breath, uh, the DPO played by Joseph Atlan, he reminded me a whole lot of him because literally this guy, but the captain says, "Well, I need you to find a workaround, don't I?" And then, sure enough, within 10 minutes, he's got his workaround where he basically shuts down the whole ship so that he can do a reboot where he bypassed things manually and everything. And it's this tense moment where he's like, "Oh no, it didn't work." He hits the button. He's like hitting the on button multiple times, and then oh no, he rejiggers a couple of the circuits and lets this million circuit board. I don't know how electricians do it, much less this guy. But you got to think when these deep sea crews and these guys are going to these ships and these long missions, any distance over the sea, there's so much to the engineering and the electrical systems and whatnot on these ships. There's a guy or two on there who must know it all inside and out. That's a genius. That's a super engineer, and he comes off as that in this movie. This movie was excellent. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it is, and I just got to say that because I thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed the whole thing, and even after my unpleasantness in getting the right ticket, after I got the wrong ticket, and waiting to get my pretzel baked and my Coke and using the restroom, I caught a couple of subpar commercials and I was on time for the beginning of the movie. I love the cinematography, the way this opens up to shots on the shore. It looks so good and it just immediately put me into a nice feel for the movie. Just by the way all that looked and the way they did the sound, I just got kind of a good feeling about it, a good mood from the beginning. It's like this isn't going to be some hard as nails made up junk. No, by the end of the movie, they've told you like an inspirational story of heroism and don't leave a man behind and I'm not leaving you and all this kind of stuff, and even when bad things happen. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. Let me start from the beginning with this. Now that we've gone through some of the cast and crew, let me hit the director real quick. Alex Parkinson. Got several writers: Michelle LaFortune, Alex Parkinson, David Brooks. Who made this movie? Let me back up. It was put out by Dogwolf. Interesting. And I really like this poster image. I got to use that as a thumbnail for uh, for this. It's absolutely perfect. This right here. There's the man who plays Chris. And I don't know why, but from the trailer, I thought that it was going to be this man right here in the middle who had been Shang-Chi, who was stuck on the ocean floor and they had to rush back to get him. No, it was a man named Chris. And start from the very beginning of this. At less than 8 minutes, let's see if I can get it all out within 20 minutes. Okay, here it goes. Opens up, and you're just thinking they're going into this kind of lovey dovey scenes with his fiance, and he's a young man.
He's obviously talented. He's referred to by Woody Harrelson's character as a great diver, and you're not going to need me. And Woody Harrelson's uh, character is he's kind of fawning over him a little bit, and you realize more and more as he opens up to these two characters in their locked down under pressure in these submarine tanks, basically in the belly of this ship. He opens up to Dave Yossa and to Chris Lemons. This is Duncan Alec. Duncan, played by Woody Harrelson, opens up to him and basically tells him this is going to be his last hurrah. Well, the company, in their infinite wisdom, have decided that 20 years is enough, and this is going to be my last dive with you boys. And you immediately kind of feel for him because he 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 picks at people a little bit and likes to joke around. There's not, but you get the feeling there's not a vicious bone in this man's body. He's a genuinely decent sword, and been he's a seasoned warrior as far as this stuff goes. He's a veteran. He's a diver in this business of deep sea diving and their underwater welding. What all they have to do, they don't really get into a lot of that in this movie. Just that this is what it's like to go down there, and it's kind of wild. I really like the way they did it, especially considering at the end of the movie they show a little bit of underwater footage, real life footage. It's so great that what Chris went through and what they all went through in rescuing Chris, and how he somehow had no permanent brain damage after all that. This movie's great. It really is good. I hope you watch it. Um, there's audio recording and underwater footage. It looks so different in the movie that they made in real life because the cameras are different. They're not movie making cinematic cameras, and so it doesn't look as epic. It just looks kind of gritty. And yeah, we're down here, and you hear one guy say, "Okay, Chris, don't f it up this time." And then you hear Chris Lemons in real life say, "Roger that, righto," or something like that with his English accent. I think that's where he's from. Um, and you're just like, "This is how this movie ended. That was crazy." And the music is great as it fades off into the credits. But yeah, it looked so good. The ship in the storm at sea, it was so peaceful when they were setting out, and then when they came back. But you know from news reports that the characters aren't really seeming to pay a whole lot of attention to in the movie. They're just knowing, well, it's going to be storming, and we're going to be in the center of a storm while we're trying to fix this bit of pipe under the ocean here. And they have some nice subtitles at the beginning about how it's like 20,000 miles of pipeline on the ocean floors that carry gas and stuff. And there's some narration by, let me get this character. Does it have? Oh, thank goodness! It has his nice photo of him there. Mark Bonnar, who plays uh, the dive supervisor, I believe it said. Yeah, he was very good in this, and you kind of get the feel for the not the hierarchy, the chain of command as far as there's a captain of the boat that they're going out on, Cliff Curtis, played by Andre Jensen, and then this man who's over his divers, the divers who go down and fix stuff. That is Craig, the dive supervisor, again played by Mark Bonner. I liked his character a lot. He portrayed an emotion several times in this. Several of them did. That it's like the direction was so good as far as this is serious business, and the pressure is on, and we got to act quickly. But if we do this, and this is going to happen, or if we do this, and this is going to happen, and we can't do this because there's a back and forth between him and the captain where in a lot of other movies, you would be getting kind of ticked off at Andre Jensen's character, the captain, Cliff Curtis, when he basically has to put his foot down to Mark Bonner's character, Craig, says, I can't risk a major environmental disaster because Craig had said, the storm's carrying us away from where Craig is. This is when Craig had fallen out and was losing. Well, they didn't. I don't even think they knew that he was alive still at that moment. Just that he's cut off from them, and they got to get back to him. But the storm is making them drift. We're just going to keep drifting. Let's drop anchor, he says. And then the captain says, if we drop anchor, you get one of these pipes down there, and then we've got a major disaster on our hands. He says, I can't risk that. And the guy's like, there's a whole lot more seafloor than there is pipe. Can we just? And the guy, he wouldn't relent. We got to think of something else, he said. And they did. These people, and they got to be this way. They got to be about everybody from the deckhand upward. All these engineers have to be so smart to be just Johnny on the spot with problem solving because it's a matter of life and death. And from the very beginning of the film, as you see Chris leave his fiance, you got the feeling he really loves her, and they're going to get married soon. And this is his destiny to be a diver and to have this job that excites him, and it's adventurous. And he gets onto that great big high tech looking boat, and I just immediately thought, as I saw them get into this ship and all this wild stuff in there, I was looking at all the pipes and all the circuit boards and their gear and the oxygen tanks and just everything about everything. And I'm just looking at it thinking, man, that's a lot of money. Man, that's a lot of engineering. Man, that's a lot of, you got to be in good with the manufacturers who make the stuff in case this breaks down, and you got to be able to replace these pipes, and you got to be able to build this. So you got to have all that welding done and the ship fitted and this major, all this high tech stuff in there and these tanks and a whole bunch of crazy, adventurous, smart people willing to get into these tanks and go down to the bottom of the sea to do this wild job that they love doing. Literally, the text at the end says, 3 weeks after the incident, all three of these men got back into the boat and went back to the North Sea, not the Black Sea, the North Sea. And you're thinking, wow, what a crazy bunch of guys they are. And it's the movie's great. I can't believe I was debating on whether or not to see this now that I've seen it. I'm like, I would have hated to have missed this. I got like 5 in a row now. And I'm trying to only pick good movies that I know I'll enjoy. Otherwise, I'm just going to save my money. Don't bother with the stuff that's going to waste my time with that. I'm glad I saw this. This was a good film. Yeah, I was just blown away looking at everything on the walls behind Woody Harrelson when he's in there, and all of the lines that go out of the bell that hangs out of their tank, which is attached to the ship, and then they go down individually to the ocean floor to this big framework that apparently stuff is rusted, stuff is damaged, pressure's too high, and something tanks. Oh, that's much too high. Oh, let me work my magic, Chris says. He brings out a pipe wrench under this ocean floor and he's adjusting stuff. It's like it's his first major dive of that sort, I guess. And that's why there was an interesting little, not really a tense moment, but just kind of a trying to break the ice moment with Dave Yuasa, played by Simu Liu. And I'm sure I'm getting his name wrong, and I do apologize. But it didn't work as much as Woody Harrelson kept telling us little jokes and jabs. Very friendly. It's nothing too vulgar, and he wasn't vicious. It's like this. What is this rated? This has got to be rated PG-13. I didn't even check, even though a couple of weeks ago, the funny guy or gal, whoever that was, down at the Grand wanted to see my license to make sure I was old enough to watch the movie. Yeah, this has got to be PG-13. Yeah. It's an excellent little flick, but skipping ahead a little bit, apart from saying it's very well acted in my opinion, in my estimation. Not that I'm the be all end all. It's just I really like what I saw on the screen tonight from each individual response. And again, I said this in the car. I thought that this was going to be like a more of a drawn out thing. No, this all happens in the course of 40 minutes or so in real life. It did. And there's an excellent little counter that says how much oxygen Chris has, and then it goes to nothing. And when he's stranded down there after the storm had messed up the ship's sensory rotation, stabilizer, whatnot, and they had to rework everything to the time when he had done what Dave had told him. Listen to me. Listen, this is the part right here that's showing on the screen. And that part right there, he says to him, listen, your cable is going to snap, because the whole thing that happened as far as Chris getting stranded was just that his air lines, his connection, his umbilical to the bell was that it had become hung up on something. I was thinking about that before it happened. Like, you gotta, it's like almost like if I ever, when I was a kid, when I might vacuum the floor or something, I was like, hey, this is gonna get hung up on something. You got to keep it all wound up. These guys are on the ocean floor. I'm like, there's so much line, and it's so much more critical than a vacuum cleaner, electrical cord. Um, sure enough, it got hung up on something. But one unrealistic thing, I'm like, is this what I just saw or not? Was this the case? If you've seen the movie, please correct me if I'm wrong. Help me to understand this. It seemed like at one point in the movie, the guy says, "Wait, the ship isn't moving. It's like we're stuck." Was it his line really that was holding that whole ship from moving too far in the water when the water and all was picking up? Is that what was happening? Oh wait, I don't have this showed. I wasn't even showing you that. Sorry. Um, let me refresh this real quick, and will maybe this will show proper this time. Okay, yeah, this tense situation, but yeah, the countdown is on, and then after it goes to no oxygen left on the little counter that you can see on the movie screen, like he's dead now. He's got no more air. He fades off thinking about his wife or his fiance, and the music goes so well with this scene, and you're thinking, this is this man dying. This this is so sad. Like he's dead. Without air, you die, right? Yeah, that's what happens. And his last thoughts are just of her and the life he wished he had had, and you get an inkling in your mind that he wishes he had listened to her more as far as his job goes, when she says, I know you have something amazing with your job that you love, but we also have something amazing too, you and I. And that's a video that he had been watching on his phone in the lead up to going on the dive, but you hadn't seen that one until that moment when he's fading away. And it was a very neat thing to do in the movie, to place that like that in the film. It was great. And you're just feeling for this guy. It's like, well, this is the end. And even Dave, as he's back in the bell talking with Woody Harrelson's character Duncan, he's looking and he realizes that from this all these readouts and stuff, Chris has no more air, and he says the words, "It's a body recovery mission now." And Duncan's like, "No, no, it's not, not yet." So, skipping ahead a little bit, got to leave you something to watch without me ruining it. Again, I'm going to put spoiler alerts, the way I always do at the start of this review session. It's just an amazing thing watching these people work together and all that they risked, because the second in command, the lady on the ship, told the captain, look, if this fails, you put the whole risk in jeopardy if you if this doesn't work out, what you're trying to do to save him. And it's a great moment when Andre, the captain, when he says, we've got to we're not, if we do such and such, we're going to be too far away from diver number 2. And he catches himself and he says, away from Chris. And when he said that, I'm like, it was such a neat moment. It's like, it's a person. It's a person that you can't leave behind. He did a great job acting in this movie. They all did. I really liked. I just, there was nothing about anybody's acting that I didn't like. Everybody had their own little slots, and it was just well put together and not long either. Another reason that I was like, you know what, I can go catch this flick and it won't be too late is like it's an hour and 30 something minutes long. And the thing is, when they finally get down there and they finally are able to fetch Chris out of that off the manifold where he had gotten before he collapsed, it's been like half an hour, and they had actually tried to fetch him with a drone, and they tried to pick him up, and they realized, what? Wait, he must be snagged on something. What was he snagged on? Hit the bottom camera to look at it, and they realized he had latched himself to the thing so that he wouldn't drift away from the storm and the surging whatnot, which is what you would do. And the guy realizes, smart lad, brave lad. Again, that's the character of Craig, the dive supervisor, played by Mark Bonar. It was so neat tonight to watch a movie where it's like all of these people care about each other, like one great big family, and they weren't gonna just leave this man, and they weren't going to abandon ship. They weren't going to do anything. They had to think so fast to get him out of there. And by that time, it's been 30 minutes. And when they finally pluck him out of there and they have him in the bell again, and he's totally unresponsive, Woody Harrelson did a great job here. It's like he just despaired and started crying. It's like he's a vegetable. It's like it's too long. It's too much. And then Dave started talking to him, and then they got no response out of him. And then they were kind of like resigned to it, like looking at each other, like we were too late. We were too late. But then Duncan, Woody Harrelson's character, puts his hand on Dave. He's like, "But you still got him back. You did so good." And then Dave said, "We did. We did. We got him out. We got him out." And then all of a sudden, Chris starts talking like, "Hey, you all right?" it was, it was the style of the way they had him do that, the way they had him look, and the way they had each person say what when. I don't know if I've ever seen a film with that particular style before, and I liked it. I like this a lot. He suffered no brain damage permanently from this or physical. And again, at the end of the movie, it said 3 weeks later they went back out again. Yeah, and finished their job that they started repairing the whatnot pipeline. And you're like, wow, wow. Now, before I shut down here, because I've praised this movie quite enough, I think, and told you some of the high points that I enjoyed. They actually have a little bit of the footage of like from the wedding ceremony that happened, and that guy standing out in the audience that Chris is saying, the one man who might actually try to kiss me on the lips. So some one of the crazy little jokes that they tell with each other. This guy sitting at the table actually resembles Woody Harrelson. I kid you not. At least to my eyes, he did. I'm like, wow, they found a good actor to portray this guy, and I like Woody Harrelson in this movie. Again, I know in the car I said I probably couldn't get my mom or my folks to come see this with me because she just doesn't like Woody Harrelson or whatever. Like I told her when I got home, I was like, you would have liked this movie. You would have appreciated this movie. But oh yeah, one more thing before I forget this. I was so worked up with this man needs medical attention. Expert hospital, high tech medical attention. There's no way he's not brain dead somehow. But no, he eventually just snapped out of the whole thing. At the end of the movie, they said in the little title crawl deal, it's possible that his unique circumstances and not being permanently damaged physically or mentally was due to a particular combination of temperature and depth. Next screen. But to this day, experts have no conclusive idea or proof of why this man is even still alive, much less that he didn't suffer some permanent trauma that put him into a vegetable state because his brain went 30 minutes without normal oxygen. And I was thinking as he was fading off, thinking about his wife, is he just taking tiny little breaths? Is he making himself zen? Is he forcing his heartbeat to slow down and not think of this life or death situation? So when they get him back in there at the end, I'm thinking, okay, the next scenes we see are going to be weeks later in some hospital. No, I forgot because I wasn't thinking. There is no medical attention to give this man. They were going to be underneath the water deep down 28 days. And you see the great process of them, 4 teams, 3 or 4 men to a team. I think maybe just 2 in one, whatever. Little small teams get into these tanks in the boat. They pressurize, so they're just in there. So I realized after they in the next scene when they're back, and you get this claustrophobic scene early on. This claustrophobic feel of what it's like being in like a mini sub early on in the movie when they're just talking to each other, almost knee to knee, looking across from one another over a little table, and your bunk's there, your bunk's there. Have a little bit of privacy, one curtain, that kind of a thing. The small thing. How it's like, I don't know how people do that for long periods of time, especially. And when the dive supervisor, was kind of joking with sending over the intercom of these 4 tanks, these dive teams that were going down. It's like he was doing the voice of the YouTube voice guy. I don't know his name. And now we're at the bottom of the ocean, at a depth of such and such. And due to and he gets all the scientific jargon, if you attempt to exit your tank or whatever, your organs will literally explode. And there's this kind of thing. And Duncan, Woody Harrelson's character, looks over at the guy and says, he only does this every dive. But let me get back. Let me finish that one thing that I was thinking about, and I'll go ahead and end this because it's gone too long as usual. I realized, oh, wait, they can't just take him to some medical hospital, not even to some infirmary in the ship, because they're still pressurized in these tanks. And if they don't decompress, they are going to die. Like in the abyss and stuff. It's like, oh, I forgot. So this poor man must be so fortunate that he is in this thing. But then again, maybe that just lends some kind of weight to the thing it says at the end. Maybe it was due to a very unique combination of temperature and depth. It's like you didn't have air for half an hour. I don't know. You'd have to thank God and give your life over to him the rest of your life. Is like, man, that you got out of this and you get back to your life, you get married, have your life, and it's like, it's an amazing story. It's an amazing story, and I'm glad I saw the flick. I'm glad I saw it. And with that, I guess that's all I got. You know me. If I could think of things to say, I would just keep on talking, but I'm burnt out. And I appreciate y'all listening to me run my riff here about Last Breath. So, thank you for sticking with me. If you stuck with me to the end, folks, this is all for this review. Who knows what I'll see next, but hopefully it'll be something good. Thank you again. Keep on keeping on. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.